It's what's in your wallet.
I'm so old.
I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 explosive hot dog carts.
Ritualistic blood magic.
Laser shooting chesty statues.
Don't watch movies unless we tell you to. Welcome to Movies with My Best Friend Phil, a movie podcast for ghosts. Turn it on in your house when you're not home, because the ghosts want to listen. I'm your host, Phil Boo Kessel.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Joined as always by two of my deadest buddies,
Mm-hmm.
Craig Norland. Craig.
You couldn't come up with a clever name.
Casper Egg.
Craig the Corpse.
Oh.
Corpse Norland.
Corpse Norland.
Good old Corpse Norland.
Oh man. And our third great friend Will Will Gouldus.
Yeah, last will and testament showed us.
God, you're way better at this
Wow.
than me. Why are you not the host? Because then it'd have to be Movies with My Best Friend Will,
Yeah,
and
that
that's just
doesn't
like,
work. Yeah.
it doesn't work.
It feels
It'd
like a
have to be
bad
picture of
spin-off.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like when we
Mhm.
have like our final fight,
Mm-hmm.
and then you spin off the podcast, and then I'm trying to make Movies with My Best Friend Phil on my own.
Yeah.
And I can't because I don't know how to do any of the recording stuff.
Yes, and
Also, you don't own the rights.
yeah.
Yeah, also I don't own the rights.
And I'm making movies with my best friend Will, and it's not funny because I'm just yelling at everyone coming on the podcast, so I keep losing best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess since we know that's going to happen,
Mhm.
do you think we could stop it?
No.
Yeah.
Mm.
Everything does feel pretty fatalistic these days, doesn't it?
Yeah. You remember when you were a kid, you're like, one day I'll be the answer is no, you won't. No, I'm going to be able to. No, you won't be able to.
Did you have a classic, like, I'll call them first tier jobs, which seems really inappropriate to say, and it's not what I mean. The classic, like, job that a kid would want.
Like
So, like,
astronaut.
Astronaut, policeman,
the marketable
doctor.
jobs.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
jobs that you think of when you're young, and then like 30 years later, you realize there's a million other jobs, and you're like, oh man.
You mean the actual jobs, the jobs that are still actual jobs, and not the like weird pretend jobs that we all do these days.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
being,
Yeah. So I
like
guess
being a
service
middle
and
manager.
science.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Is really what all those kid jobs were like
Right,
service and science.
I wanted to be a vet. That's what
That's
I wanted to
awesome.
be. Yeah, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I saw I would watch the Animal Planet all the time, and I saw a
Yes.
vet show where they amputated a dog's leg off, and they like held it up like a chicken leg. And I went,
why would they do that?
well, they just like held it up afterwards,
Oh.
like they were like moving it away. They weren't like going like those.
The like emotion of it was in your head as
Yeah,
a
yeah,
youth.
yeah.
Okay.
And I just like saw the connection between like body parts and like food.
Yeah.
And I just was like, nope, can't be a vet. And then I like read more about like what a vet actually does, which is dealing with all the most vile parts of animals. And I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a vet at all. You know,
Probably a lot of dealing with like pet parents that are like terrible people.
well, I mean, but nobody brings their dog. Like you do bring your dog in for maybe an annual checkup if you're good, but like you mostly bring your dog to the vet when there's something wrong with it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you're dealing with and then a lot of the times as a vet, the option is, well, we could do this invasive sort of procedure that will cost so much money. You'll have to like take out a new mortgage, you know, and it'll give your dog an extra month to live, or we could just kill your dog today, you know? And
Yeah.
like, that's like a lot of what the job is, you know?
Yeah.
And
no, I'm
So really, I feel like most of the job isn't like, so what was that?
That was my phone. Sorry.
God darn it.
So it's sort of like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like sort of
rough.
like being like a mortician on top of being
a pre-mortician.
Yes, I don't know. So I was just like, no, I don't want to be pulling ticks and boils off dog. You know what I mean? Popping
Yeah.
boils and
That's where I'm like, there's a part of me that still is like, yeah, that would be cool. And then I'm like, no, it's the parts you don't want to do. It's the parts that make you so anxious
Yes.
and so scared that you would not want to do that. But what you would want to do is go walk dogs at an animal shelter. That seems fun to me.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I may go do that. I
Yeah.
just have to, it's,
I mean, I feel like the humane societies around us have so many volunteers.
That's true.
Like there are so many people that are just always wanting to volunteer there.
Yeah.
So it's actually like harder to do than you'd think.
Yeah. Can I walk this dog? Yeah, I guess. They've been out like 6 times today.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we'd rather you just like, well, even the Humane Society, the one that's in like, that's near us, you know, that's in, is like, they're a no-kill shelter, but they have like, and they don't need to be because all their dogs get adopted like immediately.
Yeah.
Like when we were looking for a dog, or Caitlin was looking for a dog and I was ignoring that she was looking for a dog, you know, she would see someone she'd liked and she'd be like, oh, let's go this weekend, and it would already be gone. You know, like we went to the Humane Society to look at a completely different dog than Lucy, and the dog was already gone. Anyways.
That's what happened with Sheebs. I went to look at a completely different dog and that dog was gone. And so I got Sheebs. Life. Craig.
Yeah.
Spook, boo, dead guy
Sure.
over there.
Corpse.
Corpse Norlin. Did you have a childhood dream job that was like of this echelon?
I mean, it was basically, I watched a lot of those animal shows, and that's what I wanted to do, is be like the Kratt Brothers.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like the fun stuff.
Yes.
Not the veterinary kind of stuff. I wanted to be.
That's actually what I wanted to be, but when I knew instinctively I couldn't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
Because they would be like, well, that's never going to be your job. So I'd be like, oh, actually, I want to be a vet. And then they'd be like, wow, you're such a smart, you know, kid. And I'm like, yes, I am. I am. I'm just lying to you. I'm just saying what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Which is pretty smart if you think about it.
Yeah. So I just went into the other side of the camera.
How long have you been lying?
My entire life.
Every day of my life.
Just everything is every moment of my life is a well-calculated lie. Just
to make other people feel better.
No.
Just to avoid.
Just to avoid situations that I don't want to be in anymore.
Yeah.
You know? Just,
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
It's mostly just like, how can I shut down this conversation in the least amount of words? Oh, I've got it. I've got diarrhea. See ya.
Wait a minute. You always do have diarrhea when we have talks.
Uh-oh.
That's how you end every podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Don't watch movies unless I have diarrhea.
What about you, Phil?
I wanted to be a cop.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Which is like, so,
Yeah.
and it's,
You actually tried too.
I know. I majored in criminal justice for a full semester and a half. And then officially changed it because I was like, this is really boring. Because it's not like, it wasn't even, I mean, I really didn't even get far enough for it to be anything cop related. It was just the like
sociology.
Sociology. I took a criminology class, which had elements of being fun, but then also had elements where I'm looking back and I'm like,
did you just raise your hand every class? Can we use guns yet?
When do we get to shoot a gun?
Yeah, I remember you saying I remember when we were younger, you were like, I want to be a cop. And I was like, okay. And then I remember when we were like graduating high school, I was like, Phil, what are you going to major in at some point? You know, and like, you were just like, oh, I'm going to try and be a cop. And I'm like, really? Still? Okay.
Still?
I was like, huh.
It was so it was like when I was younger, it was like just cop, just general cop man. Yeah. And then
cop man.
And then later on I had like sophisticatedized it to like, I wanted to like work for the FBI.
Yeah.
But then it was still just like, No,
Oh,
man, I'm
man.
not a fucking narc.
Well,
But being a cool detective guy,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but their job is not.
no,
it's not cool.
No, it's not. And
It's so much paperwork.
but it makes sense to me that you would, you know, you and I were, like love superheroes and heroes, and like
Yeah.
cops were, according to all the propaganda we grew up watching, heroes.
It was
you
the
know?
closest you could get.
Yeah, to actually being a superhero.
well, you could have been a private dick
You could have been a private
Listen,
dick.
or a public
I
dick.
actually still look that up every once in a while just to see like how to become a PI, because it seems like it'd be kind of like a pretty fun gig. You just like go sit in your car and take photos,
I mean, it would
and then
mean that
give
you're.
those photos to someone.
It seems like a kind of a. It doesn't seem like a life a job that's conducive to having any kind of life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. It not at all.
Because you would have to you have to stay up late. You have to spend you basically what you do is you tail cheaters all day. You know what I mean?
You have
Yeah,
a
I think
huge
that's
target
like-
on your back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. That seems also lame.
Yeah.
But I just want to solve a mystery. You know, just
Yeah.
want to solve a mystery and shoot a bad guy. I don't want to shoot anyone.
Deal with ditzy dames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This dame walked into the office, legs up to the.
up to her
Moon.
knees.
She had too many legs.
Way too many.
Something like 8 legs.
Oh, this is a spider. Never mind. I'm dreaming. I'm sorry.
I'm high as shit.
So speaking of cops, oftentimes when you deal with the cops, you have to pull something out of.
The gun?
Yeah, usually they're like, "Hey, sir, do you have any weapons in the car?" And you're like, "Yes, here it is. Here's my gun."
Yeah.
And then they say something like license of and registration, and you're like, "Oh, I definitely know where both those things are because I'm a grown adult, and my car is definitely registered, and I definitely have proof of insurance in my car, and I don't drive around most days without either one of those things." And they're sitting on my desk, and every day I go, "I really should put those in my car,"
Oh my God.
then-
and then I don't.
The cop.
That makes me anxious for you now, because I can't, if I don't have my wallet, I make Jack drive.
Yeah.
Like if I realize I've forgotten my
Yes.
wallet, I will not drive. It just doesn't really make sense because, I'm not
You-
going to
you-
get in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I
I
guess
don't
I'm
know.
irresponsible.
Yeah, you're kind of the worst,
I am.
Will. God.
But here's the thing, though. I drive slowly, and I
Boo.
yeah, I'm a slow driver. I'm a safe driver.
I'm a medium driver.
Mm.
I
just-
drive worse because of living in Colorado.
Mm.
I run
no.
much oranger yellows these days because Colorado runs all sorts
I-
of lights.
Yeah, I've become a worse driver now that I'm a dad because I'm always like reaching behind and grabbing
Oh,
things, and I
gosh.
let my kids bully me into not stopping at when it turns yellow and going through.
Yeah.
Because I'll start to slow down and they'll be like, "God, Dad, don't stop." I'm like, "Well, everyone just shut up." And I'll just.
Turn this car around, I swear.
But anyways, yeah, you usually have to pull something out.
It's a wallet.
Hey, it's time for the segment where we reach deep into our best friend's pants and whip out some recommendations. It's what's in your wallet.
Yeah.
Phil, what's in your wallet?
what's in my wallet?
Lucy,
Oh my goodness.
Do you have an itchy foot? What's going on? Sorry,
Oh.
Lucy is here.
Yeah,
She's-
Lucy is here.
She keeps
She's a
kicking
guest
me.
on the pod.
Lucy
she's
is
so
my
sweet.
dog.
She's so sweet. We love her. Okay, so I have a movie. I know that's gonna sound weird coming from me to recommend a movie and not like Duke's mayonnaise. But like also if you're looking for like a good mayo brand, I think Duke's is the best one that I've ever tried from the stir. So give that a shot, I guess.
I mean, I don't try out a lot of mayonnaise because I'm usually like, I'm just like in survival mode when it comes to buying things. So I'm like buying the biggest amount, and if it's a version of it I don't like, then that is tragic,
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Jack usually does the grocery shopping.
Because
And
you don't
I'll-
do anything.
I do some things. Well, she does it on the app, and then
Oh.
we go pick it up.
Mm.
So she's got it on her phone, so she just does it there. but we got this mayo and it's pretty good. I there's a Japanese mayo that's supposed to be better though, but I haven't had that. What were we talking about?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Oh, you movie.
Oh,
You
I
saw
had
a
a
movie.
movie. Yeah. It's called If You Were the Last. It is on Prime, I think. That feels right. Paramount Plus, one of the two. It's got Anthony Mackie and is it Chloe Zhao?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I heard of this one.
I mean, you had to have heard of it at least once because I sent you guys a text message.
Oh, you did. Yeah. But the way it was worded was really weird, so I got very confused.
Zoe Chow, not Chloe Zhao.
God, Phil.
It's letters, man.
Letters.
I dyslexicked them up. So it's a science fiction rom-com. That is the premise, and this is, you get it from the trailer, so it's not like I'm not spoiling anything. Anthony Mackie and Zoe Chow are trapped on a space shuttle.
Big pause.
I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. Fitz is running me ragged lately, and I'm just a sleepy old guy.
Fitz, that's the gimp you keep in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
We've upped our relationship a little bit, and it's a lot. So rom-com. So they're stuck on a spaceship that's sort of hurtling through space. They've lost communication, and they've lost navigation, so they can't get back. And they have to live on this space station with each other. And then do they eventually have a thing? Ooh, I'm not going to tell you. But the vibe of it is great. They do, instead of it being like trying to do a CGI realistic space background, it is like cartoon. And like craft looking, like somebody made it in like Yoshi's Craft World almost.
Oh.
And the spaceship also looks kind of weird. Like the room that they hang out in mostly looks like a regular ass living room, but then like the tech is weird because like the movies are basically like on an 8-track the movies that they watch that they brought with them are basically like on like an 8-track thing. And then the music that they have in like their Walkman is like also 8 tracks, and they like at one point they pull it out and they blow on it like it's an old cartridge. So the sort of vibe and setting and that kind of thing is just really, really great and kind of like cutesy, but it also really works to sort of center the story on these two rather than it being like a sci-fi that has a rom-com built in. It's a rom-com that just they happen to be in space, and it does a really, really good job with that. It does a really good job with their romance on the ship. And I don't know, I really liked it. I'm a big fan of rom-coms, but a lot of them are very, very bad and very toxic and very like you take it out of the sort of shtick of being a movie and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like
There's a lot of
there's
manipulation.
Stalking, there's manipulating, there's toxic behavior. It's horrible. Like a lot of weird illegal shit, and it's gross and weird. This one really doesn't have that. It's very like it's I don't know, it's light, but then it has like really nice, beautiful moments. Really, really highly recommend this one. I don't know, it's like the director's, I don't know if that's their first feature, but I hope they do more, and I hope they do more vibe like that. Quite good.
Cool.
So, Craig.
Yeah. My recommendation this time is a book.
A book? You read?
A book.
Liar.
I do read.
Yeah, right.
And this book is called The Death and Life of the Great Lakes by Dan Egan. And this is, I'd say it's mostly about the invasive species in the Great Lakes, and also all the polluting that we've done over time.
I
yes.
bought this for my brother-in-law for Christmas.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, it's very good.
I was like, you said it, and I was like, wait, did I get Craig that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I got somebody that.
And basically how as humans we have completely ruined everything around us.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that we've done, and it's like we all know that, but
Yeah.
you don't understand the extent of how much we have fucked up the Great Lakes and everything
Yeah.
around it, because we have to have everything connected, because everything used to be separated, and they're like, oh, we want to do shipping here, and so they do all these canals and they let all these international boats in, and they're just dumping their invasive
Species, zebra
mussels, quagga mussels, sea lampreys. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that's so scary. And I'm going to be honest, it sounds like it's interesting. I will not read it
Okay.
right now.
Yeah.
Let's say in a couple years, things turn around a little bit. Maybe I'd be interested in reading it. But right now, I
Yeah.
genuinely can't handle it.
Yeah, and if my personality and brain chemistry someday changes overnight, I'll definitely read it too.
It's definitely was a hard time to listen to it.
Yeah.
Just because
Oh, I bet.
it makes you very angry, because everything is based on commerce.
Yeah.
And
Turns out the bad guy was capitalism the whole time.
Yeah. Fishermen, because
Fucking fisherman.
they're like, well, here's the fish that we can introduce that's going to help us. Like, oh, but that's not going to be good enough for the fishing community. We want somebody who's actually going to fight back. So we want the salmon instead. It's that kind of stuff where you're just like, oh my God.
And then we got to release something to get the.
Yeah.
And then she swallowed the fly, and then she swallowed a cat
Yes.
to eat the fly.
Yeah.
There's a different order to it, but it's a
Mhm.
whole thing. Yeah, man.
But the last thing I want to mention
Yeah.
is Toledo, like all of northern Ohio, used to be called the Black Swamp. Like it
Huh.
went all the way to Indiana. And this is back in like pioneer times. People going
So
from
your childhood.
Yes. People going from Cleveland to Detroit, it was extremely hard because it's just like impossible to get
Swampy,
over it.
marshy.
Yeah.
Huh.
And so they decided to get rid of all the water over long periods of time, and then it left very fertile land. But Lake Erie needed that to get all the junk out of it. And so that's why for a long time everyone's like, oh, Lake Erie sucks. It's like, yeah, because you fucking did that.
Oh my God.
And-
How often are we the architect of our own problems? 99% of the time?
Is it great that the Black Swamp is gone? Yeah. But also all the farming, and of course the farmers are saying they're not responsible, but like all the phosphorus based stuff that they dump onto
Oh,
the stuff, it
yeah.
seeps into the
Yeah.
lake. And that's the reason we have toxic algae blooms that are
Like
destroying.
the PFAS? Is that algae or is that something different?
I don't,
Or is PFAS plastic?
that's plastic.
Oh, okay.
So this is like, you look at Lake Erie and there's just like green everywhere.
Yeah, they had that when we were in Zion. There was like
Mm-hmm.
a weird like bacteria algae thing that was in bloom.
Yeah.
And
It's all phosphorus.
Yeah, and I had like a scrape on my foot when we did the Narrows, which is entirely in the water.
Oh,
And
no.
we went through the whole thing, and then at the end I was like, is this a problem? That like this is like nearly an open wound
Yeah.
in this? And the ranger was like, probably not.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
A little
But-
late now, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so here's my vision for not so much actual the future, but like
Mhm.
you know how we always have like near future, medium future like sci-fi stories, and everyone's still on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the idea, and I think they did it in a novel that I read where it was Earth was like all the people compiled into like a few like mega cities, and then the rest of Earth was just given back to Earth and like turned into like basically everything's a national park or a world
Yeah.
park except for a few cities that we all live in, and then we're also in space. And I
Yeah.
just wish I'm just gonna hold on to that
Mhm.
as like a thing that won't ever happen, but could.
Yeah.
You know, that's like an optimistic future, and I think I'm gonna hold on to that because I'm dying inside
Mhm.
But
because we're all dying outside.
there is the book does end on a hopeful note because
Okay,
nature is amazing also because
fair.
like whitefish have already evolved to eat the mussels.
That's fucking awesome.
Like they used to, there was no way they could digest them. They were trying to, and it would just kill them. And over time, even just like over, a couple decades, all of a sudden they can digest them.
That's like multiple generations.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite things is when like the world and nature still humbles you in
Oh,
terms
yeah.
of like, it's still scary. We don't have it under control. Like,
Well, there's in most of the book is them talking about, oh, we're gonna create all these farms to get these fish back. And like, oh, it worked for a little bit, and then it would just completely crash, and nobody knows why any of this stuff is happening. And, but you have these fish that can just, like, if you just trust them, like everything that we were fucking up, as long as we keep the fish alive, they're gonna find a way to evolve.
yeah, as long as we keep like a network and a cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing.
that's a very cool note to end on
Yeah.
because otherwise it's depressing as shit.
Yep. But again, great book. Hope your brother-in-law likes it.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him unless he's listening to this, Tom.
Oh, is it just Tom?
Yeah.
Is he into that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's into, I would say, everything.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know Tom to not be into something most of the time.
Yeah.
He's got a very like varied set of interests.
Mm-hmm. He's got a very particular set of skills or whatever. it is.
A very reverse particular set of interests.
Yes. All right.
Speaking of interests,
Will.
William.
What? Me?
Yeah. You're still actually on the
You're-
pod.
Oh, cool.
You're the
cool.
center
Yeah,
of
yeah.
attention
Cool.
again.
Cool.
Yeah, it's back to you. So
Yeah.
you get to talk now about
Yes.
something that you brought to show and tell.
Yeah. And it's not existential dread. So there's that.
Listen, everything we record is gonna turn into existential dread at least a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just the
unfortunately.
nature of the times and the three of us.
Yeah. So I want to talk about 2 video games.
Yes.
Yeah. Both of which are made by Sega, and both have been around like our decades-long franchise.
Is this Sonic Heroes?
It's not Sonic Heroes, but it is Sonic Frontier
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yakuza Like a Dragon. So both these games are interesting to me because like Sonic is such a weird franchise because
Mhm.
by all accounts it should be dead. Do you know what I mean?
'cause
Like
hedgehogs
yeah.
don't live that long.
yeah, well that's one part of it. 2, it's like they're like 1 for 20, when it comes to good games.
Well,
Do you
it's
People
know
are
what
like-
still hanging on to like OG Green Zone music.
Yeah, I know.
I thought like for a while because I had a Genesis.
Yeah.
I thought after the Genesis games, I'm like, oh, well, this is done. Like
Yeah.
all the other platformer like Croc and Gex, I'm like, well, that was fun. Well, it's over now.
Yeah.
And they just kept changing
Well,
what Sonic is.
But well, that's the thing. Like so like I haven't played very many of them, but like
Yeah.
the 3D Sonic stuff has been a mess for like Sonic Adventures was good. I remember playing that and liking it, but it was like weird. And then Sonic Adventure 2, I heard was good. I never played it, but then like he turns into a werewolf in one of them, and he like becomes a knight in another one, and it just like
Huh.
they like couldn't figure out what
Shadow
they're
has a gun.
Shadow is in the Shadow game. Yes, he has a gun.
Yeah.
and like, but so it's weird.
That's
so
like too many edgelords were in the room
Yeah.
to greenlight that, and there should have been like one less
Well,
edgelord guy.
yeah, the thing is so weird about Sonic is like he's always got like a super like intense story going on. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like you're a naked blue hedgehog, like, and the fact that you have shoes on just draws more attention to your nakedness.
There's something about sort of the level of intensity of like a Kirby game
Yeah.
in terms of like the sort of level of world in peril.
Cosmic horror.
But it's like, and cosmic horror.
Yeah.
But it's like very cutesy.
It's too much anime.
visual.
It's like very anime-y, but then it's like starring Hello Kitty. It doesn't like it's.
But then Sonic doesn't hit like the right balance of that
Well, right,
versus
because
like a
he's-
Mario
'cause-
that's like,
Because like Kirby, it's funny when Kirby's like cute and it's all cutesy
Yeah.
stuff, and like Mario is like, but
But when you have Sonic 06 where he's romancing a human girl,
yeah,
it looks very strange.
well, no, that's okay.
But like
Yeah.
Mario games,
We're
like,
okay
I
with
like
that.
Mario games have legit no story to them. There is like
Yeah.
no
Right.
story they're trying to do. Mario never talks. You know what I mean? And like you'll have somebody maybe.
It's a me.
Yeah, he says like that a couple times. So like when they said there was going to be a Mario movie, I'm like, what the hell is it going to be about? Like it doesn't. That's not why I play Mario. You know what I mean? And Sonic, they're always like, wow, why are the Chaos Crystals here? Well, back in the day, the ancient echidnas came down from the heavens and stole the Chaos Crystals, and they put them all together to make it. And then the Chaos, the Chiatix came in, and you're like, what? Why is there a talking blue hedgehog? Can we talk about that first? You know. But that is all to say that Frontiers, I think they got it.
It's
Okay.
fun. It is really fun.
You've played it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's really fun. But the thing that's weird about it is I also am pretty sure it's a bad game.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's
Weird how much I want to play it.
I love playing it. So basically they figured out what to do because the problem is like Sonic's thing is that he goes fast, right? But he goes fast in real time. So you're basically controlling an uncontrollable character, which is why I've never really liked Sonic games.
Yeah.
Because like you start running and you just like you either feel like you're completely out of control and you're constantly dying, or you feel like the game is playing itself. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yep.
he's just like bouncing around. You're like,
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, you missed 5 blue check marks. I'm like, I didn't even see one. I couldn't
Yeah.
see anything.
Took the wrong path.
I don't
the
even
whole
know
level
what-
was a blur.
I would totally even know what happened. So then they went to like 3D, and then it's just like just chaos all the time. You're like always like, so you're like I'm always trying to slow Sonic down, which I'm like feels like is
It
not
feels
what you-
wrong. It
yeah.
feels very
So
wrong.
basically, in this game, they have like it's open world. It's very much inspired by like the success of Breath of the Wild, but in the sense that it like it's big open world but they basically you have islands that you go to and it's just full of like ramps and rails and just junk to run around on. So they basically turn it's a skate park. So the whole level is just like a giant skate park and you're just Sonic going crazy everywhere. So it's just like,
and it's fun because you're like, how do I get up there? And trying to puzzle like,
yeah,
okay,
how do I
take
get
this?
up? And you just like go flying everywhere and it's also like a huge collectathon and you just like collect stuff all the time, but it'll be like the only way to get these gears is to beat monsters. And you're like,
Yeah.
really? And it's like, well, or you could just find one.
Yeah, I
And-
just find it
And so
randomly.
like there's this element where you're like, oh, there's a big monster I don't want to fight. I'm not gonna. And at first I was like, well, that kind of stinks. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, I do kind of like that they're like, you're playing the game. You should get the thing. You know what I mean?
pat.
And I'm just sort of like, yeah, I am playing the game. You're right.
Yeah, good job,
You
me.
do deserve
job,
good
me.
things.
So it's weird because it feels like they've perfected they've been around for so long, but they still don't know how to make a video game. Like it feels like it's this
Yeah.
long running thing, and they still don't know what they're doing. Because the other thing is it has like, you know how Zelda has shrines where you do puzzles?
Yeah.
This has like levels you go into, and it's back to like the classic Sonic levels where you're sort of just like flying down a very linear path. So they have both of the worlds, so it works. I don't understand what the story is at all.
Oh, I skip it. I just
Really, I'm listening to it. And I'm going like, what?
yeah, nope.
Yeah.
You're dumb.
Yeah, and there's like a whole like you meet Big the cat and you do like fishing, and it's like the easiest fishing game ever. Like you just like hit one button, and then when a ring comes, and when your ring matches the ring, you hit the button again, and then you just keep catching things. And I have never caught the same fish twice. It's just like this endless pond of just like junk and fish. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, oh, surely I'm going to like, there's only like so many types of fish. Nope.
Yeah.
I've caught like over like 90 different fish and they're all different. And I'm like, what is this? Why is this even here? And you can, and then the thing that's hilarious is you can trade that in for any of the items in the game. So literally, if you wanted to, you could just play this game as a fishing simulator.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's weird.
that's crazy. Go to
Yeah.
the fish zoo.
Yeah. So, but so to contrast that to
Yeah.
Yakuza Like a Dragon,
They're not similar.
they're not similar, but they're also like have completely different trajectories. Like Yakuza was like, hey, this is what these games are. We're going to do the exact same game for the rest of time.
Yeah.
And it like literally every single one of them is like not exactly the same, but it's always like you're a part of the Yakuza. Something happens. There's a time jump. Now you have to come back to the Yakuza, but it's not the Yakuza you remember. Now you're homeless on the street as this prideful Yakuza, and everyone's branded you as a villain. So now you have to build your gang of friends back up to defeat and get back in the good graces of your patriarch. You know, every single one is that. Like that happens and the funny thing is this is the first time they have a different main character. So the normal guy, Kazuya, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name because it's in Japanese. He's done it like literally like 12 times. He's like,
Yeah.
he's had the exact same thing happen to him. But this one, they finally, they've been like leaning towards it for a while because it's a Street Fighter beat 'em up game, you know, originally. We like run around in the streets and people are like, hey, I want to punch you in the face, and you punch him in the face. But it's like a punching, what's the word? Fighter game? Fighter game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But more Street Fighter-y kind of way. Not the actual Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Like a Turtles in Time?
Turtles in Time. Yeah. A little bit more like that.
Side scroller.
Yeah, but in the 3D world, like, because I think the first one came out for the PlayStation 2 or something like that.
PlayStation.
I don't know. I didn't play it. But they've so in Japan, it's actually not called Yakuza. It's called Like a Dragon. But they branded it Yakuza because they're like, hey, you guys like Grand Theft Auto. Oh, if we do, you know what I mean? Like they're like, so it's like, it feels like their reaction to Grand Theft Auto in a weird way. But now the main character, so now they've finally gone to it being a full JRPG. Like it's turn-based fighting now.
Oh.
Yeah. Huh. And they were always kind of going towards that. You know, you could kind of feel it happening. So the main character in this one loves Dragon Quest. So he like,
okay.
so the game,
you're very into it.
Yeah. So I'm very into it. And he like, and it's funny because in his imagination, so when the bad guys appear, they like turn into like cartoon versions of themselves and stuff. And like, you get jobs and things like there's like a homeless guy with you and he like is basically your mage, and there's like a bartender and she's like the cleric, you know what I mean? You have an ex-detective, he's the tank, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you can
Makes
change
perfect sense.
and you go to a like a temp agency to change your class, but you change your job, you know? So you can become like a cook and then you're like a fire mage and stuff. So it reminds me a lot of like did you ever play I don't think you guys ever really got into South Park, but they had the Stick of Destiny.
Yeah, I know those.
Yeah, they were very Paper Mario, but it's like funny to have like fantasy in real life. It reminded me a lot of that. Anyways, it's like I just love these games.
But they're also extremely silly.
What, Yakuza games?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Like a Dragon especially.
Yeah, well, the thing that's weird is like everything outside of the main story is incredibly silly.
Yeah.
Like at one point, like I'm in the middle of a side quest where someone has given me a pot of very hot kimchi, and I keep helping people by feeding them kimchi and making them run really fast because it's too hot. So there's like an old lady who can't cross the street, so I like feed her kimchi and she runs across the street, and then I solve that. It's just really ridiculous.
That seems like a great solution.
It's just over the top, and like Yeah, I sent you guys that one screenshot with the like it was just like a bunch of grown men dressed as babies.
Yeah.
And and those are your like he became a summon of mine. So you have summons, you can like call people on the phone from this like service. You like call and then he shows up and beats them up for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
And
really
so weird.
It's really weird. But the main story is also like really serious and over the top, you know, because like it's all about like honor and like Yakuza code and like, you know, and you know, people are like dying and betraying, and it's I'm like, and like they go into this whole backstory about like this politician is like the families, and I'm like I haven't a clue what anyone is talking about.
Oh man, it's like, so you're saying there's like a planned death of someone, like a plot,
Mm-hmm.
and someone dies from that plot.
Yeah, actually, in the very beginning, you have to go to jail because somebody is killed. So you go to jail, like in the stead. You say you killed the person even though you didn't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be like if somebody got killed in like a mugging,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Oh, that guy got killed in the mugging," and then later on, that guy, through a psychic medium,
Yes.
finds the actual killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like if that happened.
Yeah.
What would that be?
I don't know. Yakuza like a ghost.
Ghost.
What?
Ghost.
You're both looking at me like I should be saying something.
Ghost.
Oh, ghost. Yeah, ghost.
Yes, ghost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ghost dog. What are we talking about?
Oh no.
It's Ghost.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's Space Ghost, Coast to Coast.
Yes.
Ghost is a 1990 American 1990. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, supernatural romance film directed by Jerry Zucker, written by Bruce Joel Rubin, and starring Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, Whoopi Goldberg, and Tony Goldwyn. It's 127 minutes long, $23 million budget, and it made $505 million. So I think it did pretty good for itself.
Yeah, it did all right.
And how about what do you Rotten Tomatoes
90.
thoughts? Okay,
Because it came out in 1990.
Gosh, I'll do
Phil always making the safe bet with this game.
82%.
Craig has it 75.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, not as positive as you would think with an 80
Yeah.
Audience
Okay.
score.
This this movie,
Yeah.
I've seen it every once in a while on Instagram, where it's like the movie that was number one the week you were born
Mm-hmm.
is the vibe for your life.
Oh, is this one?
This is the movie that was number one the week I was born.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So is it the vibe for my life?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah. I
You've
think
gone
so.
into banking. You have you can afford an incredibly large studio
Studio
apartment
Yeah,
in New
studio,
York
yeah.
off of your banking salary and your girlfriend's
Art career.
art career. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
That's very much me.
Wait, which one of us is going to kill him for his money?
Probably Craig.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's definitely Craig because
Yeah.
Craig is
Because I look well-meaning, but underneath.
well, but
So, wait, I picked this movie.
yeah, you did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I picked this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
about to ask you, Will. I was like, so Will, why'd you pick this movie?
I didn't.
Why'd you
didn't.
do it?
I did it. Yeah. So we're doing the 1 degree of separation. This is a movie I have seen before, but I also, when we were talking about The Substance, when we were doing our recap episode, I wanted to watch more Swayze, and watched him in this, and I'm just like, I said it to you guys. I was like, I don't know if he's a good actor or if he's just handsome and charming.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it
Correct.
could be both.
Yeah.
It very likely is both. But he's so charming when he's on screen that I feel like he could play a bad guy and I'd accidentally start rooting for the bad guy.
Did he ever play a bad guy?
I don't know.
That's a good
Yes, and Donnie Darko.
Oh, I have not seen that.
man. I don't remember his character at all.
I-
He played like
he
the
was
teacher,
the teacher.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't
who
remember what
was
he
doing
did.
bad things.
Oh,
Ah.
boy.
One of those kind of things.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well, because so his character in this, we'll get into it, but like starts the movie off as kind of a jerk. Well, maybe not like a bad guy, but just like
I mean, he's a banker,
brash,
bro.
I guess he's like a banker bro, and that's a person I'm
Who
not
has
really
commitment issues.
Yeah,
wanting to be friends with.
He's very 90s tropey, you know, we're 80s tropey rather. It's more of an 80s feeling movie.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, he's Demi Moore's like, why don't you ever say I love you? He's like, I say I love you all the time, you know, and it's like, you women.
Yeah.
Women,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that feels colored by like modern. But
Fair.
yeah,
but I'm still like, man, Sam Wheat. I like you, man.
it's one of the
Sam Wheat.
worst names for a hero. I have to say.
Sam Wheat.
Sam Wheat. I'm Sam Wheat. How you doing?
This was a rare one though, because you and I had seen this, right?
That's right.
And I think Craig said he had not
I
seen
had
this one.
not. It was weird blind spot.
Yeah, this is like a one of 3 maybe that we've had where it's been Will and me who have seen it
Mm-hmm.
and not you. So Craig, first time viewing.
Yeah.
Give me your initials.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll be honest. I think I said it while we were watching. I like that aesthetic, like that weird early 90s, late 80s era of movies
Yeah.
where everything was a little bit grimy
It's
and
like
just dark.
wet New York all
Yeah.
the time.
Wet
All
New
the time.
York,
Wet
baby.
New York. No, but I liked because everybody knows like the things that I got by cultural osmosis
Yeah.
is about the pottery scene
Yep.
and about Whoopi Goldberg, and that's basically all I knew about it.
Yeah.
Was that who the main people
Well,
are.
and the big thing I remember hearing about it was that it was a love story.
Yes, it's a love story.
Yeah, and so like in your brain, you're like, oh, it's a romance, it's a love story. I'm not going to like
And
it.
that's part of the reason I'm like, I do like Ghost, but this is a girly movie.
Yeah.
And apparently it was like they estimated that 75% of the people who went and saw it were women. So I mean it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're if they were marketing it that way, but no, I liked all the characters. Maybe Demi Moore was a little bit underutilized.
I would agree.
She felt like she was just kind of crying and then having to
For being one of the like who should be the like 2 or 3 main characters, I feel like
Yeah.
we got almost nothing from her.
yeah, she was just more ancillary.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she had less screen time than Whoopi did, honestly.
Yeah, and it seems weird that a romance movie, the 2 people who are romanced
Yeah.
would have slightly more screen time.
Well,
but
yeah.
she did lose her guy. So she's just sad. Why would she be doing anything but being sad?
Yeah, I think calling this movie a romance is
doesn't
miss,
make sense.
Is not right. Well, the problem, I mean, obviously the reason why you have genres is for marketing
It's
reasons.
a mystery.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would call it. It's like it's not a thriller really. You know what I mean? It's got
No.
supernatural elements to it, and there is like a bit of a mystery, but it's not like
It's a supernatural mystery.
right.
Yeah, it is kind of because really it's only romantic for like the first 10 minutes.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
then
the
he
other thing
dies.
because that's the other thing. Like usually romance are about like the romance. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
romance of them getting together, being together, not being able to be together, getting back to. You know what I mean? It's the whole drama
Yeah.
of that, which is why I don't like every time. Okay, so my experience with watching Ghost, I believe was it was back when Caitlin and I were first living together, and I was like really poor. And I didn't have anything to give her for Valentine's Day. So my gift was we'll watch Ghost, which is something I had been putting off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my initial thought was like, I'm not gonna like this. I'm just gonna suffer through this. You know what I mean? And then of course I liked it. And what's funny is when we were going to Craig's house to watch it again, on the way there, I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't like this movie and I'm not gonna like it because I don't like romance movies. And then literally the exact same thing happened where I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually a good movie.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
I came up with like, because that's the thing, like calling anything, I hate romance as a genre. Do you know what I mean? I also
Yes.
especially hate romance when it comes before the other genre. Do you know what I mean? Like
romantic comedy.
Well, that to me is the only one that is the exception where it's just as good. A romantic comedy is
Romantic body horror.
yeah, or a romantic fantasy. I think that there's a ton of romantic fantasy going on in
Yeah, romantasy
book.
is
Oh, yeah.
huge
Yes.
right
Yeah.
now.
And every time Caitlin describes it to me, I'm always just going like, she's like, you would really like the world and and I'm like, will I know what the main character's dick looks like? And she'll be like, yeah, a little bit. I'm like, well, okay, I don't want to know that.
Well, I don't want to know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just,
Absolutely.
it's not. And I also like, to me, it's like, it reminds me of like Twilight, that kind of stuff where it's just like, you start thinking of the implications of like having a romance with a vampire. And then also like, it's also like, you just like, it just is like, oh, cool. These are just two people who are very horny for each other. And it's just sort of like the buildup. It just doesn't, I don't know. I don't like it.
It doesn't.
But this isn't that. That's
Right,
the thing with
yeah.
Ghost. Yeah.
That's the thing is I think we, and I'm saying we, I don't know who else is included, maybe everyone. I feel like when romance is part of the genre,
Yeah.
it is a very specific kind of quote unquote romance, and it's not usually the romance part, it's the drama part.
Yes.
And then at the end, it all comes together and they're fine. And that to me is not exactly romantic.
Yeah.
This movie, however,
Yes. See, this is about
is romantic
yes.
to me.
And it's also about which I'm realizing more and more as I get older, I want to see more stories about people in relationships already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now that, because I've been married for,
Oh, Lucy.
oh, she's all tied up. Are you all right? Oh, okay. Oh, no, you just needed a shake.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
Okay. But like, you know what I mean? Like I want to like
Yeah.
romance to me, like a true romance, true love doesn't occur at the very beginning of a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a
sustained.
fire you build up and
Yeah,
sustain.
Right, yeah. So like, that's what's nice about this is they're in the committed relationship too. It's not like this whole like, do they love each other? Will he say the thing? Is he going to save her? Is this lust or love? That kind of garbage.
I mean, he does. There is growth.
Yeah.
For him being, a lot of movies like once you're dead, you can't. Like, there's nothing left for you. Like, you can't grow as a person. But in this, he basically learns that he should have said, "I love you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like it does the sort of trope, I guess, of like you can't take it with you, or like you can't like say the thing now because you don't know when the last time you're going to be able to say it is.
Which
this
reminds
shows
me,
it better than like getting hit over the head with
Yes.
it,
Which this reminds me of one of my other favorite romantic films, Die Hard. Because that essentially is the whole conceit of that movie is that Bruce Willis's character is regretting, like, so the guy who wrote Die Hard was trying to figure out how to make it work as a movie. And he got into a fight with his wife, was in a car, and he almost died in a car accident. And you realize like the last couple words he would have said would have been, we're fighting.
Yeah.
And, so that is Die Hard as well, where it's like Bruce Willis's character is trying to apologize to his wife, should have apologized to his wife. And then this horrible stuff happens and he's like, oh, so that to me is that movie would never be billed as a romance, but it's got romantic elements.
It has romantic elements, and it has the romantic elements that feel more true to life.
Yes. And that's why like I tend to like movies that like have like and that's the other thing, like it's weird. Romance, I feel like, can be compared to comedy as well. You know what I mean? Every movie should contain at least some of them. Some of it. You know what I mean? Depending on the type of movie you are. But oftentimes when you have a movie that's just straight comedy without any drama, like satire, parody, like Airplane is like maybe the exception to the rule, which is interesting because that's the director also directed Ghost, directed that. Yeah. But like sometimes like, it's like Scary Movie, that kind of stuff, like where it's like too much of the comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember when people would ask me when I was first doing film stuff, they're like, "What's your favorite genre?" And I wanted to say comedy, but at the same time, I was like, I don't actually want to say comedy because like I don't mean stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean like smart comedies, like Wes
Yeah.
Anderson. To me,
Oh,
is,
you like comedy? You mean like Meet the Fockers?
yeah. Yeah, like Meet the Fun. No, they would say like, "Oh, you mean like Step Brothers? Have you seen Step Brothers or Old School? Have you seen Old School?"
Yeah.
That was what was going around.
Oh yeah.
It was like,
that
"Oh, you
would've
must
been
like
the time,
you must
yeah.
like Old School. You must like Step Brothers." I'm like, "I've actually never seen either one of those movies." Really? Why not? It's like because idiots like you have quoted it so much to me that when I sit down to watch it, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah,
I missed
fair.
the window.
Oh, wait, so if comedy is its own genre
Yeah.
and drama and all these other ones, I feel like romance is always a tacked on thing. It's not its
Yeah.
own genre because can you think of any movie that is just a romance?
Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But that's a drama still. Like you'd
Yeah,
say
I
it's a
suppose
drama.
it's a drama. Yeah, yeah. I guess it's something where like
I mean,
because,
this is the
because
problem.
it's something that like has to kind of happen over time. It has to have other elements. It can't be.
Yeah.
You can't be a bread sandwich. I
Yeah.
mean, it can.
It's just weird that you can call like Romancing the Stone, they might just say that is an adventure movie.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't say that's a romance movie. Like it feels weird to call anything a romance movie.
Right. Yeah. What? Yeah. I mean, huh.
I mean, like Gone with the Wind, isn't that a romance? I don't really know, actually. I don't watch.
I've
these
never
types-
seen it.
Yeah, I don't
It's-
watch
And
these.
frankly,
Yeah.
I don't give a
Give
damn
it
to
to-
seen it.
Well, like Twilight. What
Good
is
for you.
Twilight?
Supernatural romance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It has to have. It
has to have
kind
that
of does
quantum-
have to have.
Yeah, you can't just
something attached to it or
Yeah.
be attached to
I
something.
mean, yeah. Well, that's drama is kind of that way too. You don't just have a drama movie. You have
Yeah, I
a
suppose they're
period
all-
drama. You have a biopic or
yeah,
something.
I
you
suppose
know what
they're
I
all
mean?
just ingredients,
Yeah.
but
Well, that's the problem with
romance does kind of stand on its
genre
own
to
the
me
least.
is an indelicate. It's not a science. Like
It's cooking.
Yeah, yes,
It's not
exact-
baking. It's
yeah,
cooking.
Yes. It's just so that all it does is it only exists so I can communicate to you what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I sat there and you said like, "What is this movie about?" or like, "What is this movie?" and I just said like, "Well, it's about a guy who does a thing and then he meets this person and then you know what I mean? It's a romantic comedy." Oh, okay.
You're talking
I'm
about
like
Teenage Mutant
50%.
Ninja Turtles 2, right? Secret
Yes,
of
I
Ooze.
was. I was.
I thought
I don't
so.
know how you got that so quickly, but
I know you.
that's true.
You know what it is? I think we need a third.
Mhm.
You need to triangulate things. It can't just be this is a romantic comedy. Like
Mhm.
there's got to be a third descriptor. That's how I do music when I'm describing it to anyone. Is you got to triangulate it with 3 genres
Yeah.
of music. Otherwise, people are going to go way in a wrong direction.
Yeah.
You put at least 3 descriptors in, and then people kind of know what they're getting into.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
But again, like you said, it's like it's only useful when you're trying to get somebody to understand what you're saying or what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
yeah, what
or
you're talking
vibe.
about.
Like
You know
it's,
what I mean?
it's not it in and of itself. It doesn't really make or break anything.
Yeah, and the reason why movies have and the people who make these movies also have to put them into these boxes because they have to pitch the idea to people to get them on board. You know what I mean? So we end up like boxing it all in.
I'd be really curious talking about romantic elements in movies. I would be really curious to get your guys' thoughts on If You Were the Last, because I felt like it had really good romantic elements while being, that is the bulk of the plot of the movie is the romantic element of it. But it something about it felt more like lived in and realistic.
Yeah.
Like watching a standard rom-com, you watch it and you're like, yeah, I can't really see myself doing that because that was illegal. Or like that was super toxic and that was
or
weird. And
just
that
like-
only works in that universe. Watching this movie, I was like, oh, I get this. I feel this. Like,
yeah.
I can relate to this. I could see a person in that situation. I could see myself in that situation. And I love a good like romance element to something because I'm a sappy lover of love. So movies like Ghost I really, really enjoy because it is this like really nice story of like, yeah, you should say those things
Mhm.
if you mean them. Because, you know,
I think what helps this movie a lot is that it keeps everything pretty simple.
Yeah.
They're not
Yes.
introducing a weird convoluted afterlife sort of thing. It is just like a heaven and hell thing.
heaven
That is
and hell
all
and
it is.
also weird shadow demons
And I mean, like, but it's like,
that evaporate your ghost.
yes, but it's not like, some movies
They
go
don't do a bunch of
way
like
over the
hard
top.
world
Yes.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
We
we have
don't
to
meet
explain
God
this.
or something.
Yeah. And that's like
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the worst thing you could do in a movie
Yes.
like this is like
Yeah.
show the bureaucracy of heaven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't ever show me the bureaucracy of heaven. I don't want it.
What I like about this movie the most is it comes up with a reality. It gives you these rules, and then it's all about playing in the world with these rules.
Mhm.
You know, so like
yeah.
Patrick, like what would you do if you were nobody could see you, you walked through things, and after you died, like what would you do? And like him just like kind of following people around, and like him, he follows his killer around. He sees his killer, he follows him around. He like tries to and then like once he starts working with his, working with like moving things, like how to move things and stuff like that. To me, it's like what I like about this movie too is like he's never like you're never kind of going like, why wouldn't he do this then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're never quite like, I feel like in a lot of these types of movies, you're like, okay, well, why wouldn't he just go and ruin this person's life? And then he goes and he starts ruining his killer's life. And you're like, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
And it's
makes
fun to watch
sense.
him do that. And like, bully Whoopi Goldberg's character into
helping him.
into helping him and all that.
Should we
I-
do a quick rundown of the plot?
Yeah, maybe. I don't
mean,
know. The guy dies.
Yeah, Patrick
Sam
Swayze.
Wheat dies.
Yeah, I mean,
Guys,
so
Sam Wheat dies.
Sam Wheat dies, and he's a young man, and he's killed by like what seemed like to be a random mugger.
Mhm.
Right? There's like a struggle, and he ends up getting shot. But we come to find out but he ends up like following. He sees the mugger. Well, the mugger tries to break into his house. And he follows him, and basically he discovers that it was his friend who
Yeah, his
hired
friend
the
and
guy.
banking partner, and it kind of seemed like protege almost. Like he
and-
didn't. Sam Wheat was like the expert, and this guy was like second in line.
Yeah, and first
for-
choice if they ever decide to do a threesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, and so he killed him because he did have some sort of convoluted banking plot that I didn't quite understand.
Well, he
They-
wasn't trying to kill him. It just
Yeah.
happened.
Oh,
It was
I
an
see.
accident.
He was just trying to get his address book. I forgot
Yeah,
about that.
that's all he was trying to get
Yeah,
because he
and-
changed the code.
Yeah.
And the thing I like is that they don't explain. They don't do a whole. It is kind of a convoluted whatever, but only because they give you just enough that like it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
He's in with someone
Yes.
for this money, but you don't know who, you don't know why, you don't know any more details than this is a guy that is in some sort of trouble because there's some amount of money that is not available to the people it should
Yeah.
be available to illegally. And so he kills Sam Wheat, and then Patrick Swayze, Sam Wheat, just spends most of the rest of the movie trying to communicate with Demi Moore's character, his girlfriend, not fiance, but like they were close. I feel like they were close. He finds he can communicate with Whoopi Goldberg, who is a fake psychic, who turns out to be actually psychic, which I liked.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was like, because she has a line where like a bunch of people in her family are psychics,
Yeah.
and she just was pretending to have the gift, and then it's like he finds her and then somehow unlocks her gift because later on there's like a bunch of dead people in her
Mhm.
office room, and then through Whoopi Goldberg and a series of very silly hijinks, they take the money, give it to a bunch of nuns, and then banker guy tries to kill Whoopi Goldberg and Demi Moore,
Yeah.
and then ends up
Dead.
dying.
Yeah. He ends up dying and then is pulled down to.
He dies very gruesomely
Yeah,
Yes.
he does.
in a movie that like should not have had such a horrific death. He's got a very horrific death because he goes into some plate glass and then falls like onto like throat first onto
No, he
or no,
falls.
no,
he falls
doesn't-
on it, and it creates a guillotine, and the window comes down on him. Right?
No, they like throw something like a hook of some sort that's like chained to the ceiling, breaks the window, and then it hits him, and then he just lands on a like spiked piece of glass, like throat first.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's no bueno to look at. It's rough.
It's a little surprising for if you're marketing this towards women to have that gruesome of a death in it
For the 90s?
for the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have just had him fall out the window or something like that.
They could have Disney deathed him.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And I mean, I appreciate the commitment because we're talking about it. It's going to stick in my head. I don't think it stuck in my head when I watched it the first time, but as I told you guys when we were watching it, wherever I was at the first time I watched it, I did have my eyes closed for me multiple times during this movie.
And
But
no,
that's-
Phil did say, "My eyes closed for me."
Yes.
I did say that.
Yeah.
I didn't close them. And they weren't at the parts you'd think.
Yep. What were the parts again? I can't remember.
The only part I remember them getting closed for me was when Whoopi Goldberg was leaning in to kiss Demi Moore, which
Ridiculous.
doesn't actually happen
Yes.
and isn't.
Well, we don't know because we all closed our eyes.
We all closed our eyes. I had them close their eyes because I was too scared.
yeah.
I
still
can't
don't
see
know.
that kind of thing. It's only 2025.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
those demon things were
Though they were.
if I was a kid, I would have been freaked out.
Yeah, that was an unsettling part, and I feel like I blocked that out because I didn't remember them going into it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's so if you die and you're evil, weird shadow beings come and like evaporate your ghost body or drag you to hell or something.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to what happens to if you're good, beams of light come down and turn you into beam of light.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go
And
into
then
the
you-
light.
Yeah, you go into the light.
The implications of this world, it's one of those where you can't think about it too much because if everyone figures out how to move things, then it would just be chaos all the time.
Yeah. See, what I think it is I think you have to the guy on the subway explained it is that you have to channel all of your emotion.
Mhm.
And I think it's just that it would only be people who died in a way that would like the like unresolved business that is like
Yeah.
the classic ghost thing. Like if you just died and your unresolved business was just like, I'm pretty sad I died. Like you probably wouldn't have enough in you ghost wise. This is me making up stuff that is completely unnecessary.
Yep.
You wouldn't have enough ghost juice to move stuff. But
Yeah.
because Patrick Swayze knew he got murdered or knew something was up, he had enough ghost juice to start moving stuff. Now, what I'm really curious about,
The train guy.
the train guy. What happened to the train guy? I gotta
Yeah.
know. Somebody
pushed him.
was somebody pushed him, or because the way he was saying it, to me it felt like he did not get pushed. He pushed himself. Because
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze says something vaguely like oh, somebody pushed you? And he's like, yeah, what do you think? I'm lying? Do you think I pushed myself or something? He said something like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a heavy line to just throw on a character that doesn't really have a lot of bearing on this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, he does teach
I
him
mean,
how to.
he teaches him how to move stuff.
Yeah.
But
he
like,
Mr. Miyagi's him.
he Mr. Miyagi's him a little bit, but like, yeah, that guy just had like,
Stop.
he just had like, I just want to know more about this train guy,
Mm-hmm.
but we never will because there's no Ghost 2.
We'll never know. Ghost 2, the
Electric
Ghost Train
Boogaloo.
guy.
The Ghost Train guy
It's
for
just-
Phil.
Yeah, no, I got the sense that like he probably jumped, and then he like I think I was wondering about that, whether or not he was crazy before he became a ghost, or if becoming a ghost is what made him crazy.
Yeah, I'd want to look back and like, did they give any clues? And I'm assuming they didn't, because they didn't need to go this deep into this character. What he was wearing, it would have been kind of cool if like small detail you could trace like what he was wearing to a time period, and you could maybe gather that he'd been on that train for like, or been ghosting that train for like 30 years or something, and that would make anyone crazy.
Yeah.
Because it seems like he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Because he's very possessive of the train. But it's that is something about this movie that is like, that puts it up into another echelon for me, is that like this one weird side character who is, I guess I should say he is very important to the plot, but like isn't really part of our main gang.
Yeah. He just kind of comes in for a
is
little bit.
So interesting to me. Just the way that he's presented, and the little bit that you get. I feel like we talk about this all the time, where like there's an amount that you need to give, and if you give too much, you're
Right.
over explaining, but if you don't give enough,
It feels like a plot hole or something.
yeah, this feels like just a thread I'd like to pull on a little bit.
Yes, it gives you an idea of a broader world.
Yeah.
Without like explaining, like, I mean, it's the classic like very first Star Wars movie was so good at just saying like, oh, you get an idea of the broader world, but you don't see it. And then like, episode 1, they're explaining metachlorians and stuff, and the trade
they
wars
kind of
and
go
stuff.
the exact opposite
And you're just
way of,
like, this is bad, and then
Newt Gunray,
and then the
poor guy.
and then the sequels, the third.
Listen, he wanted to marry Princess Amidala, and
What?
just watched her fall in love with a 9-year-old.
Who did?
Newt Gunray.
No, he didn't.
They were going to get married.
No, they were not.
Absolutely, they were. That was the whole thing. That was the whole
Oh,
plan. If friggin' 9-year-old
And-
Luke Skywalker.
You're getting it all.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. I'm sweating in Star Wars right now.
Can I just say that I don't think this movie works if they had cast anyone besides Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
I think she
Ray
carries this.
Romano.
Yeah,
Nope, that
Yeah,
wouldn't have done it.
I actually would have watched.
Come on, give me at least one line.
Deborah, I'm dead.
Sam, wait.
Deborah, there's someone at the door. It's the guy who killed me.
You gotta run.
I'm going over to Mom's.
No, I mean, I think Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze are great in this. I think, again, Demi Moore needed more to do.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze obviously is the main character, but Whoopi does such a good job.
She does,
Like, she
yeah.
deserves the Oscar that she got for this.
Yeah, no, I can totally support that. She's very funny in this, and it's
Mhm.
very like, yeah. That it's, yeah.
Yeah. And she's also she's believable, and she's a very memorable character. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a weirdly comforting movie. Like,
Mhm.
this is definitely a comfort watch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I felt very comfortable with you guys,
Mhm.
and I normally
Yeah.
don't. I'm normally
Comfort
terrified to be
movie.
around you guys.
I'm not sure I see it as a comfort movie.
No?
No, I don't know.
Because for me, it's a nostalgic sort of movie, because this
Oh.
is the kind of stuff that came out when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
so, but like, just like, I forget her character's name, but Whoopi's
It's like
character.
Odie Mae Brown or something like that.
And she's got her
Oda
two
Mae?
helpers
Oda Mae.
with her. And there's just like random little characters that add to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it does. I'm on your side on this one. I think
Thank you.
we'll fight Will together.
Yeah.
Will's
Okay.
wrong. Write
Every
it down.
comfort movie should end with somebody getting guillotined.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. No, yeah, I think I could put that in like I would, if this movie was on like late at night on TNT, I definitely would put it on and I would fall asleep on the couch to it.
Yeah.
And that feels like a level. That feels like an echelon for a movie to be in.
It's a dad
grouping.
standing watching it in the middle, like 2 o'clock
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
afternoon.
Oh, you mean the way I watch everything now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are a dad.
Yep. And I am always just standing right there, right behind where Phil is, just going like, oh, what's happening now? Oh,
Wait, what if I'm in my house? Are you still right behind me?
yeah, usually.
Yes, always.
Ah, that's so weird because every time I turn around, my back is now facing another direction, so you'd be there instead of, so I'll never see you.
Yeah. I always just I'm like,
That's
is
physics.
Dalga and Palkia fighting again?
Yeah, one of them's space and one of them's time. I know that.
Mm-hmm. We watch a lot of Pokemon movies in this house.
Nice. I only know it from watching Jack play Legends.
So the villain
Dalga's the blue
guy,
one.
Oh.
Palkia's the...
I don't remember the guy's name, but the villain.
It's not
Ooh,
Sam.
Bob.
Carl.
So that
Reginald.
I didn't recognize
Carl.
the actor at all. He's the voice of Tarzan.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I remember looking that up and I was like, huh.
Just that's so random. I don't know. If most
Did he do the voice in Kingdom Hearts too? Or they get somebody else?
Not
Clayton. Not Clayton.
Not Clayton. Classic.
So are we ready to give this movie a score?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Phil, what are you going to give this?
10 out of 10. Wait, no, we do it out of 5s.
We sure do.
Hey, I'm going to give this movie 5 out of 5. Patrick Swayze's bizarre reactions to things. His eyes in this movie are buck wild, and it's great.
When he's surprised, he is.
You will
So
know.
proud.
Yeah, you will believe.
No one has ever been surprised until this man was surprised in this movie. He invented it. Yeah. No, I loved this, and I knew I was gonna like it. But I loved this. This was great. This was exactly what I wanted the movie to be. 5 out of 5 for sure. William,
What?
what are you gonna?
My
What's your
turn next?
numbers? What are your number out of number, and then a thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie five Patrick Swayze's got some high pants out of 5.
Craig,
I couldn't think of anything.
5 out of 5. Get off my train.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could have gone with the guy taking his shirt off to try and seduce Demi Moore.
Oh God.
Oh my God, Carl, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
That is like
Whew.
the worst
I know.
like tactic.
I know. He was
Yeah.
such a
Let me
sleaze
accidentally
bag.
spill something on me, and then I gotta take off my shirt. And when she asks if I need another shirt because she's got a spare one around from her dead husband, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no right to her face.
Her dead husband, who's also my dead best friend.
who I also killed.
And I'm probably way too involved with these people's lives
Yeah,
Yeah.
to
he
begin with.
was in the yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He was around a lot. It was just sort of, I don't know. Anyways,
All right, Will.
so that was a movie, and so now we're gonna watch another movie.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I've been trying
Yes.
to like guess, and by guess I mean I looked up the IMDb's for a couple people that were in this movie,
Yeah.
and then gave up immediately because I was like, that's too many options.
So this movie had a cinematographer named Adam Greenberg.
Okay.
Yeah, and he is mostly known for this movie and Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh my God.
He's also done a lot of other movies.
Oh my
Apparently
God.
Snakes on a Plane was one of them.
Oh,
and
But
I love that movie. Lizzie, if you're listening, you still owe me a copy of that movie, and I just want that on the record that I am owed a copy of that movie, and I would like it on DVD.
Okay, good to know. But he also was the cinematographer on a movie nobody's ever talked about or ever talks about anymore. Robin Williams stars in it. It's from 1992. Toys.
Oh no, you're gonna make us watch Toys?
Oh God. Okay.
This is a movie I watched a bunch as a kid at Brad's house and loved it.
Oh,
and
gosh.
would love to revisit and to see how bad it actually is. It stars Robin Williams, of course, Joan Cusack, and LL Cool J.
It's like a
Oh God.
it's like a worse version of War Games.
Yes, it's a really weird movie. It's
Yeah.
very stylistic, which is why it's stuck in my brain for so long. It reminded me a bit of like Tim Burton's early work,
Yeah.
where everything is like sort of like fake looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was like,
I don't know if I've seen this. I just looked at pictures of it and I know of it,
yeah.
but I don't know if I know of it because I've seen it or I know of it because I've seen clips or like bits.
Hopefully we can find a place to watch it because I did not do that sort of research.
Everything exists
So
somewhere.
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll find something.
Ugh. But now I can pick any Robin Williams movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've actually been wanting to watch more Robin Williams movies as well. So this is 2025 is working out for me. Kind of.
Kind of. Yeah. Glad you're doing well, Phil.
Listen. I'm not.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
I'm really
not.
sorry. I didn't mean it.
I'm stressed out all the time.
It's going to be okay, Phil.
Oh, that's the thing though. It's not.
I know. I'm sorry.
Everything's bad and we've reached the end.
I'm going to end the pod. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Is that still a thing?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's back. It's back now.
It's back. If you want to tell us what you would do if you were a ghost, would you just follow around your family or would you like just kind of explore?
I'd go to a subway car in New York, probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hopefully you
That's-
guys would too, and we could just hang out. We're all gonna die together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So this episode was brought to you by Brad Barr.
Woo!
Woo.
Woo.
If you want to hear your name shouted outed on the podcast and want to help support us, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/mumbleandtrug.
If you like what you heard, consider leaving a review on any of our platforms. Give us a like, a subscribe, a smash button. No, not that. Hit the like button.
There you go.
Hit the subscribe button. Hit the smash button.
Mm.
Smash or pass.
Mm-hmm.
Smash or pass. Will Craig Phil.
Oh, no.
That's all for this episode. I'm Phil Kessel.
I'm Will Chodos.
And I'm Craig Norland.
Don't watch movies unless you're a ghost and you're in a room where somebody else is watching a movie. Then you can watch that movie, but technically that person couldn't be watching the movie unless they were a ghost in a room with somebody else watching that movie. So somebody's going to have to turn on movies for ghosts and then leave the room.
Also,
my love, my darling.
also, Will has diarrhea.
I do have diarrhea. Gotta go.
Brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions.